Buongiorno, buongiorno! Welcome to the land of Korean cinema. Vincenzo, or Vincenzo, turned out to be a highly successful drama this year, so let's take a look at it. The show stars Song Joong-gi. Last time he appeared in the movie Space Sweepers, which is a movie not worth talking about. Chun Yeo-bin, who last time appeared in the movie Night in Paradise, which I really enjoyed. Besides them, here is Ok Tae-yeon, or Tae-yeon from 2PM, Kim Ya-jin, Kwak Dong-yeon, Cho An-chul, and about 500,000 other people. Korean-born Vincenzo Cassano is a lawyer and a consigliere of the Italian mafia. When his boss dies, he comes back to Korea to tear down a building under which a major supply of gold is hidden. The problem is, the building is full of residents, plus an evil corporation is trying to get their hands on the building and the area in general. Slowly it becomes personal for Vincenzo, so he decides to take down the corporation. My relationship with Vincenzo was very much problematic. I pretty much hated the show in the beginning, to the point where after the third episode I was like, I'm not sure if I want to watch another episode. But then slowly, very slowly, the show won me over. So let me do the same thing. I'm gonna talk about my problems first, and see if I'm able to flip the script for you. Before I get into the details, Vincenzo is in large part a comedy, which I didn't really expect. But I will say this, if the show's humor works for you right from the beginning, you're gonna have a blast with this drama. Unfortunately, it wasn't the case for me. So my main problem in the beginning was the humor. It was way overdone, it was very silly, but the biggest problem is that it affects the characters and the characterization. I don't mind having one or two comic relief characters in a show, but Vincenzo has about 20. A lot of time is spent with the residents of the building and they're all comic relief characters. But it's not just them, even some gangsters and shady figures serve this purpose. The problem is that it makes them less human and more like cartoon characters, which is in conflict with the overall seriousness of the story. So imagine having 20 comic relief characters in a show. And on top of that, I found the humor to be very weak and forced. So instead of me smiling all the time, I was just angry as fuck. But that's not all. Since there are so many characters, the storytelling is scattered all over the place. At least in the first half. The show constantly jumps from one character and storyline to another, which makes it really hard to care for a character or to get to really know a character. I didn't care about anybody here for a long time. The show seemingly had no direction. On top of that, the way scenes are sequenced together makes the storytelling an absolute mess. Again, mostly in the first half. The show is constantly jumping between very serious and obnoxiously silly scenes without any concern for natural flow. When this is combined with weak humor, well, you've got a problem. I seriously almost gave up on Vincenzo. The first ray of hope came in the form of Yoo Jae-myung, who's a fantastic actor. I'm always happy to see him. He seemed to be the only sane person besides Vincenzo in the show, but then he's not in the show that much. I was like, great, my only hope is gone now. Most likely he won't be back, thanks a lot. But then, slowly the story started to get a lot tighter, a lot of shady things happened which makes the whole case personal for Vincenzo, and my interest in the outcome grew bigger and bigger. And then I fell in love with Chun Yeo-bin's acting. Now, hear me out. She's the daughter of Yoo Jae-myung. She's a lawyer at the shady law firm in the beginning, but then she slowly drifts away from that. But her character too was really silly and unlike anything I would expect from a lawyer. She annoyed the heck out of me, until I realized that Chun Yeo-bin is pouring her heart and soul into her role and really selling this character. And that's what made the character alive. It was her amazing acting and she was my absolute favorite by the end. A lesser actor would have completely butchered this role, but she was amazing. And of course, Song Joong-gi was fantastic as well. What I appreciate the most about him is that he never ceases to be a controversial character. Because, since he's a member of the mafia, he has his own ways of dealing with things and well, those ways can be pretty brutal. But he never hurts innocent people and he's a man of his word. He has a code and he never strays away from it. But he's also cold-blooded and merciless. And although I loved his character arc, I loved how much he matures during the course of the show, he never really loses that cold, menacing side of him. I wasn't cheering for him 100% up until the very end because a lot of his actions I find highly questionable. But it definitely makes him one of the most interesting characters I've seen in a while. And Song Joong-gi's performance was just flawless. From the coldest to the most vulnerable, it was all great. And when he smiles, that's a bonus because he doesn't really smile that much actually. So when he does, you're like, oh, he's human after all, he can smile. Great character. I also really appreciated that certain characters end up being very different than they were in the beginning. Certain character arcs genuinely surprised me. Some people turn good, some turn bad, and it was really satisfying. I have to mention Kim Ya-jin as well because I really enjoyed her performance. She's a shady lawyer who ends up being the right-hand man of the main villain. I'm not gonna tell you who that is because it's a secret for a while, but for me, Kim Ya-jin was the main villain. Now that I mentioned the villain, I think the actor did a fantastic job. I really appreciated that there was a psychological aspect to his or her character, but I also found the character to be a tad bit cliched and just not that interesting. With that said, slowly I started to get more and more into the story. The character started to grow on me, and even some of the humor started to work. I mean, if you're throwing jokes left and right, some of them has to land eventually, right? I would say about 30% of the jokes worked for me, but those were hilarious. I had some really good laughs by the end. Also, the writers were very smart because I started to have some questions as I was watching the show, and I got answers for all of those questions. For example, how is it possible that Vincenzo fights so well? It's answered in the 10th episode. You won't get answers right away, but every answer makes sense. There are some great dramatic scenes in here as well, especially between Vincenzo and his mother, whom he eventually finds. It's a long story, watch the show, but they had some beautiful scenes together, and so did Chun Yabin and Song Joong-gi. And eventually I ended up liking the residents of the building as well. I really enjoyed the camaraderie between them. They were truly caring for each other. They were basically a family. Vincenzo's family. And of course, when Vincenzo does his mafia stuff, it's all great. He's a really smart man. He's usually one step ahead of everybody, and trust me, you don't want to mess with him. He can be pretty brutal, even if he only does bad things to bad people. But man, did I enjoy it. So even though I hated the show in the beginning, I ended up liking it quite a lot. The characters grew on me, the story got a lot more interesting around episode 5 or 6, I liked the dramatic moments, some of the humor, and I loved the performances. If you're looking for a show that is highly entertaining but can also be pretty cold at times, and if the humor works for you, this is going to be one of your favorite shows ever. Since I can't ignore my problems with Vincenzo, I can only give it 75%. Some things still infuriate me, but his strong parts are so strong that denying that would be a very stupid thing to do. It's a long show. It's 20 episodes with an average length of about 70 minutes, but if you stick with it, it's gonna be worth it eventually. 여러분, 오늘은 여기까지만 해요. 영상 봐주셔서 감사합니다. 이 영상 좋아하면 구독해주세요. 그리고 좋아요 버튼 눌러주세요. See you very soon. 다음 시간에 만나요, 여러분. 안녕히 계세요. Bye!